Good morning and welcome to Tropical Update number 8 for Tropical Storm Barry that is very close to landfall and near the central Louisiana area. Again, I am at Dauphin Island, Alabama, which is where the blue dot is. My fellow weather forecaster, Mikey Ederer, is in the Mississippi coastal area within that red circle just off to the left. So here on Dauphin Island, again, there's not much wind, but we've had heavy rain since about 5 a.m. It just now became daylight, or at least light enough for me to go outside and film, so I'll run outside and do that. It's been some heavy downpours this morning off to the eastern side of this storm. The storm is still, believe it or not, developing. It still has not made it onto shore, as you can see here in this graphic. Now, these outer feeder bands, as you can see depicted by the red arrow, are rotating counterclockwise, and you can see where that circle is right now we've got heavy rain on top of us. So I'm curious to see what happens, at least in terms of flooding or storm surge in this area. This is a slow moving storm. The pressure has dropped to 991 millibars and the winds are at 70 miles per hour. So let's run outside and see what happens. So down here on the water, at least on the bay side of where I live, not too much going on. Again, right now it's a light rain. I do see in the radar, if you just noticed the graphic at the beginning, that there are some heavy squalls moving in. So again, I'm facing the north, and the storm would be rotating counterclockwise in from my southwest. So you can look at kind of the clouds. If you can see that these clouds are kind of whipping around counterclockwise right above me. So this is part of our back area, so you can see the water has come over a bulkhead that's generally about 2 feet above ground. This bulkhead here in front of me is generally about 2 feet above water, and it's starting to come over the top. So high tide here is about 8:55 Central Standard Time, so high tide is not here yet, but it's not terribly far off. So if we get some of this squallish type weather that I see on the radar, at least in the next few minutes, then we should be able to get some good weather clips. Check out the bird. So again, geographically, Mobile, Alabama to my north, Florida, Gulf Shores, Alabama to my left, or straight in front of the camera. The Gulf of Mexico over those trees, and the Mississippi area, Louisiana, as the crow flies off in the distance that way. You can see the clouds are much more ominous in that direction. So here's a good look at the Doppler radar. Again, I'm indicated where the blue dot is, and you can see these strong storms moving on shore. All right, so real quickly, I'm going to keep an eye on the water coming up into the yard. So when these squalls push in, you can see the bulkhead now that I filmed, which is normally 2 feet above water, is now underwater. This is the yard now. Again, earlier this morning, the water level was still underneath that bulkhead. So as you can see, things can change really rapidly. So just on the radar, I noticed there's a nice squall coming through inside one of the outer feeder bands. So I'm out, and let's see what happens with this water level rise. Sometimes it can rise very rapidly. So we're going to keep an eye on this water that's rising quickly behind me. So I'm going to jump underneath the house, and we're going to see what happens here, all right? Here we go, guys. Here we go. So I'm going to sit here. Again, this water will rise very, very quickly. So where I am, I'm underneath my house. Okay? So we're kind of under stilts, so you can kind of grasp where we're at. It's a nice heavy rain. Thunder. All right, so I had the camera paused for literally about a minute and a half, and just resumed it, walking back out. The rain subsided a bit, and you can see how far now the water has come into the yard. Just 5 minutes ago, I was standing right next to that bulkhead. You can see that cement that runs up the back of our yard. I was just right near it, and now I've got water halfway through the yard on this side, and way into the yard on this side. High tide again is at about 8:55. So, hey, this water very well may get all the way up to the bottom of the house. So we'll see. All right, so I went back upstairs. The water on the area to the right has gone completely all the way up into the yard. This is just below where I was just standing. So I want you to see that, again, that bulkhead 5 minutes ago was above water, and now it is quite a bit, about a foot underwater. Okay, that hose we used to spray things off, and it's about a foot. You can see a little concrete area to the left of it where we usually stand, and now you would kind of have to wade out there. So it changes quickly. All right, so just unpausing the camera just for a moment so the video doesn't get too long, but look how quickly the water is rising. When I first started this video about 10 minutes ago, I could almost walk out to the bulkhead. Some of this southern flow is really starting to push on shore. Again, it's not very windy, but there are heavy bands of rain moving in. So I'll keep kind of pausing and unpausing so you can get an idea of how rapidly that water will move up into the yard. It's almost underneath the house at this point, so I'm thinking it will get there. And again, these bulkheads and pilings are generally way out of the water. And here comes some heavy rain now, guys. If this little band of rain right here stays intense enough for a little while, with high tide being basically right now, I expect to have water underneath the house. So some good flooding, not good, you obviously don't mean good, but a nice kind of level of flooding so you can get an idea how quickly water levels can rise. All right, so the rain intensity has picked up. Again, I was just standing upstairs. As you can see, this water is now very near my porch. So as this tide stays high and this rain continues, again, it's all the way into the yard on this side by a long shot. So just that small elevation drop from here to there is a huge difference. So this is how quick water can rise on you. It's been maybe 15 minutes since I started filming this video, and the water went from in front on the other side of that bulkhead to now about a foot underneath. That pole right there, that post with the hose on it, is about, let's see, I'm 6'1", so it's about 3.5 feet tall, and what you see, maybe 4 feet, and what you see is not much of it sticking out. So this is a slow-moving storm. It's gotten stronger. The pressure has dropped to 991 millibars, so it still is just a hair offshore. So I'm sure that those in central Louisiana, maybe Morgan City or just off to the right, maybe to the New Orleans area, are going to start feeling the thick of things here shortly. If it's this intense, and it's pretty intense, again, the wind isn't bad, but this rain has been off and on this hard since I got up at around 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, and the water has just steadily been rising. So this storm is not a huge wind event, but moving so slow, this can be a huge rain event. And rain, especially areas near Mississippi River or any other rivers that are up to their flood stage or crest level, need to look out for this one. Definitely going to be a heavy rain-making event. If the water gets much closer, it's going to be difficult. All right, so it's about 7:55 a.m. and again, these thicker rain bands are just starting to move in. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put this video together, get it out there for all you guys that are curious about what the weather looks like from the far eastern side of this storm. This being probably what it's going to be like for Mike in Mississippi as well as myself here. So I'll keep watching the water level rise and we'll check in on it shortly. Everybody stay safe. Just because it's not a heavy wind event does not mean that these rising floodwaters cannot cause damage to others, risk lives by people trying to wade through it. There are currents in floodwater, so you have to be very careful. Debris that travels throughout them, so be very careful. Don't drive cars through it. We have a west end of this island that stays very vulnerable for these types of floodwaters. Some people can't get to their homes sometimes. So much love to everyone on the west end of Dauphin Island. Hopefully everybody is staying safe and sheltered. And for now, I'll see you soon. Take care, and hopefully the water doesn't get too much higher. We'll have to figure something out. Take care. See you later. Yes, that is the yard. Hard to go throw a football in that. Peace. All right, everyone. See you in about another hour or two. I'll keep my eyes on the water level rise in the backyard that you had an opportunity to see. Again, these storms are rotating counterclockwise from my west. So these storms will continue, and they should continue for a while because this, as you can see, is a very slow moving storm, and the pressure has dropped a little bit more. So this storm still has not made landfall, but it's close. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care. From Justin and Mike here on the Gulf Coast area, take care and be safe.